All right, we are 1 week away from Bloodlines 2 being out as of the time of this recording. They finally have actually released all of the trailers for all the clans, so we're going to dive into all that and all of the disciplines and the perks assigned to all those disciplines here in a little bit. But this is a game that a lot of people, myself included, have been waiting on for a very, very long time. There's been lots of delays, studio shifts, a lot of skepticism with that, but it's all finally happening. The game is almost out, so let's dive into everything that we're going to get into with this game. So it's developed by the Chinese Room. It's set in the modern Knights of Seattle, and essentially before we dive into the clans, I quickly want to go over like the two major groups of vampire. So there's the Camarilla, which this group is like all about stability, but they achieve that through oppression. And then you have the Anarchs, which are all about freedom, but with freedom comes a lot of chaos. So those are like the two major groups. The reason I want to call them out now is because these clans that we're going to dive into in a little bit are each associated with those groups, or like one likes the group, one dislikes the group, and so I want to have that context there before diving into those. So these clans essentially will give you access to certain disciplines, and inside those disciplines is where you can equip perks. Through all the clan trailers that I've seen, it looks like each clan will have 4 perks. Maybe there's more, I don't know, but at least in each of the trailers they showed off 4. Also worth noting, all clans are available in the base game now. So previously, Lasombra and Toreador were locked behind a paywall, and maybe that's the last time that you checked in on this game because that turned you off, which I completely agree. That was incredibly stupid out of them. But Lasombra and Toreador are now in the base game, so all vampire clans, all 6 of them, 7 including Malkavian, but we'll get into that one in just a little bit. All of them are playable in the base game. So they walked that back, which is good. Shouldn't have been a thing in the first place, but it was. But good thing they walked it back. So the first clan that we're going to dive into is the Brujah. These are the brawlers, the frontline fighters. They do not like the Camarilla, so they'll likely side with the Anarchs, and they're known for physical dominance and speed. So best for players who want to throw hands and go in loud and not so much sneak around. Their discipline focus is presence, potence, which is like the super strength, and then celerity, which is speed. So one of the perks they showed off was taunt, which if you taunt your opponent, they come and attack you, which is pretty standard for taunts. But in this case, they drop any of their weapons that they have equipped, so that's good. You also have access to lightning strike so that you can unleash a fury of punches. You have charge, which makes your character surge forward, and if you hit an enemy during that charge, you will grab them, and then if you charge into a surface, obviously you would ram that person into a surface and likely kill them. And then you also have access to Earth Shock, which allows you to slam the ground, which throws your enemies up and into the air. The next clan is Banu Haqim. These are stealthy assassins. They have a moral code with them as well. They have a mix of agility and precision strikes, ideal for silent takedowns and fast movement. Their discipline focus is celerity, so kind of similar with the Brujah. They have that speed, access to those speed perks. They're also involved with blood sorcery and obfuscate, which is stealth. One of the perks they showed off was bladed hand. This allows you to slash quickly in front of you, and if the enemy you're hitting with a bladed hand is a weaker enemy, you will likely behead them. There's also split second, which allows you to slow down time. There's mute, so you can silence your enemy's screams and weapons. And there's also unseen aura, which allows you to become invisible. So I am curious with the Banu Haqim if you'll be able to do a no-kill run with this clan. So I don't know, I would imagine there's probably going to be like some no-kill routes that you can take this game. This is probably a clan you want to go with if you want to do that. Moving on, we've got the Tremere. These are your blood sorcery users, range control like warlocks, think blood mages. Great for players who want a more tactical and mystical playstyle. They're likely strong with cloud control and utility builds. Their discipline focus comes in with dominate and blood sorcery, which those disciplines give them access to blood curse, which allows you to curse an enemy, and once you do damage to them, they explode. There's also cauldron of blood, which allows you to boil a person's blood, and they will scream, which will attract attention and bring other enemies closer. You have access to another perk called recall, which allows you to mark a spot, and then you activate recall again to do what the name of the perk does, recall back to that spot. And lastly, there's Blood Salvo, which allows you to throw a bunch of blood daggers at your enemies. So I really like the Tremere so far, and I think this combat loop is pretty compelling. Essentially, you can mark a spot, like say at your feet before you initiate combat. You can then boil an enemy's blood, causing them to scream and pull in a bunch of enemies. And then you can run in, curse one of the enemies, hit them, and then blink out. Cursed enemy blows up. It'll likely do a bunch of damage, a bunch of AoE damage to the enemies around it. So yeah, this seems really fun in my opinion. Next, we have the Ventrue. These are your commanders and manipulators. They're definitely a part of the Camarilla. They're charisma heavy, focused on control and social dominance, and their discipline focus is dominate and presence. So they have the Terminal Decree perk, which allows you to command people to kill themselves, so that's pretty intense. And then you also have the perk Possession, so you can see through an enemy's eyes and control them for a little bit. And then there's cloud memory, which causes a target to forget you were there. And then lastly, we have mass manipulation, which allows you to apply Ventrue abilities to all enemies within view. So the Ventrue are potentially the best for a dialogue heavy, non-violent run. And Lou seems to be pretty involved with this clan as well, so that's definitely a plus. Moving on to my favorite clan so far, and one that I will probably end up rolling in once I pick up the game, and that's Lasombra. So they are allies with the Camarilla, and most members wore Sabbat, but in the first game you pretty much kill all the Sabbat, so there isn't really any of them left. Their disciplines are Oblivion and Dominate. So this is our first look at Oblivion here. They have the Arms of Airmen perk, which uses a shadow to trap opponents. And then you can use Shadow Step to blink to your enemy. You also have access to Glimpse of Oblivion, which is essentially like a fear causing the enemy to run away. And then you also have Enter Oblivion, which allows you to teleport you and an enemy, whichever one you targeted, to an arena to fight in just you two. So if you go into a big wave and you're fighting a bunch of enemies, you could use this Enter Oblivion, just pull maybe the most powerful guy, just pull him into an arena and kill him one-on-one before bouncing back out and fighting the rest of them. So yeah, this is probably my favorite clan. It looks super cool and these abilities are super interesting. This Oblivion affinity that they're calling it here just seems really, really interesting. Next, we have the Toreadors. So these are your divas, beauty, passion vampires. Their disciplines are Presence and Celerity. So they have Entrancing Kiss, which allows you to kiss an enemy, making them fight for you for a little bit. You also have Blink, which allows you to dash to a targeted location. You have Beckon, which makes targets calmly walk towards you. And then lastly, you have Blurred Momentum, which gives you some evasion. Moving on to probably the most interesting vampire clan that you can play with in this game. Yeah. Excuse me. This is probably the most unique clan in terms of the story, because what it seems like is you play as this guy Fabian, which is a vampire detective, and it kind of just seems like this is its own thing. Like this is probably something that I will probably do after I run through the game as one of the clans that I just mentioned above, one of those 6 clans. And then maybe this, it seems more like a side quest or something. We don't really know too much. They didn't really give us too much into the Malkavian like side story here, but this is definitely probably something I'll jump into after I beat the game. Speaking of content after you beat the game, let's get into some of the additional content. So everything I've discussed so far is in the base game for 60 bucks. If you buy the deluxe edition for an additional 10 smackaroos, so like around $70, you get the Santa Monica Memories cosmetic pack. And then if you buy the $90 premium edition, you also get the Santa Monica cosmetic pack, and you get access to the 2 new future like story packs that are coming out, the Loose Cannon story pack, and then the Flower and the Flame story pack. So, but both those aren't coming out until 2026. So for me, I don't really care about cosmetics, and I'm not buying into these story packs until I know that the story is actually good. They don't even come out until next year anyway, so I'll probably just get the base game, assuming the reviews for this game are good. So moving on to some of my gameplay expectations, what do I expect with this game? It's definitely a game that's narrative RPG first, action second, which is no surprise. Like that's exactly what the first game was. The first game's action and combat was just terrible, but the narrative and the NPC interaction was done excellently. So hopefully they continue to do that with this game. It's definitely going to have a heavy emphasis on choice, dialogue, and role-playing your vampire fantasy. I think that having the 6 different clans and then the additional side story like Malkavian one is definitely going to put that emphasis on choice, and hopefully there's enough NPC interactions to where your choices actually matter and your clan choices actually have an impact on how people treat you. Combat looks more polished in the recent gameplay showcases that I've seen. It's definitely like more weighty, less floaty than the earlier reveals, but I think combat is definitely going to be like the weakest point of this game. But with that said, I played the original game. I actually have the video. I did a little video essay if you guys want to check that out on my thoughts of what I called it was a broken masterpiece, because that's truly what it was. That first game was a broken masterpiece. The NPCs, the story, all of that was done pretty well. The combat is where it all fell apart. So if this game kind of follows that formula, I think it'll still be a well-received game, and there's no way that the combat in Bloodlines 2 is going to be worse than Bloodlines 1. So already I think it's in the upward direction in that metric. And then the last thing that I hope is done really well in this game is the exploration of Seattle. So hopefully the hubs, the faction conflicts, the feeding mechanics, and how the Masquerade enforcement and all that works, hopefully it's very polished and done well. Like in the original game, you had the 5 masks, and if you broke the Masquerade, you would lose those, and if you lost all those, you would lose the game. Hopefully there is a similar mechanic in this game, because I think that was a mechanic in the first game that was an excellent and very creative idea, it just wasn't executed as best as it could have been. So hopefully they still run with that idea and make it much better. Again, the build variety seems good and interesting, most likely highly replayable, assuming progression and balance are both polished. It's also not like a remake or continuation of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the first game. It's definitely a spiritual successor with the modern mechanics. Like they'll probably throw in a few Easter eggs to the first game. They already have that Santa Monica cosmetic pack that has a few Easter eggs in it. But as far as returning characters, I really don't think we're going to see them, which kind of sucks. And also leads into another sucky thing with the game is we never heard anything about the Nosferatu and the Gangrels, and I actually played a Gangrel in the first game, so I was kind of sad to see that Gangrel's not in Bloodlines 2 at all. So I don't know why those two things aren't in. Maybe they're coming in the future, who knows. But kind of moving away from that negative stuff that I had, positive for me at least is I really like the dev team, the Chinese room here. They're definitely very strong with atmospheric storytelling. Like Still Wakes the Deep was an excellent game in the DLC that just recently came out over the summer. Siren's Rest, played both of those. Those were executed perfectly when it came to atmospheric storytelling. So I think that this game will be very good with its narrative and how it tells its narrative through the world around it and its world building. But it's definitely, like, I would expect a much slower and moodier game. It's not really going to be like your pure action RPG. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting at with this game. With all the clans revealed and launched just a week away right now at the time of recording, it's looking like Bloodlines 2 could finally give us that immersive vampire RPG that we've been waiting for. My clan is definitely, I think I'm going to go with Lasombra or Tremere. I don't know. The Lasombra, the Oblivion and Dominate with Fears and Shadow Step seems really cool. But also Blood Sorcery and being a Warlock and using some range control abilities, that seems fun too. Let me know in the comments what clan you guys are interested in. And again, I did a video essay on Bloodlines 1 if you kind of want to get... there's no spoilers in it, so if you want to go and watch that, like, it's not gonna ruin the story for you, but just kind of give you my thoughts on that if you're interested in more vampire kind of stuff. But anyways, that's where I'm going to end this video. Take excellent care of yourself, call someone you love, and goodbye.